Hello everyone, this is Alchemisted, and this is once again Star Trek Online, Rise of the Red Shirt. And this is a very special episode because this week we are holding First Contact Day in the game. First Contact Day is the day humanity first made contact with an alien species in Star Trek, and the actual date that it happened was April 5th, 2063. It is April 5th while I am recording this, and that means that for a limited time, there is a special environment, a special area you can access. The Utopia Planitia... The Utopia Planitia shipyards over Mars. It's, I believe the correct pronunciation is Planitia, and as you heard, it's kind of a tongue twister. So, yeah, Utopia Planitia. The thing about the Utopia Planitia, though, I'm going to be screwing that up so much. Planitia. So the thing about Utopia Planitia, Jesus, is that the Utopia Planitia shipyards were the birthplace of the Galaxy class. You can see that, the golden model of the Woglinde right there. Yeah, we're going back to where the Galaxy class was born, which means we're going back to where the Woglinde was born. So yeah, so this is something that I've been looking forward to a while, and it's also new content in the game. We're also going to meet the crew of the new Enterprise, which debuted at the end of the recent featured episode series, the 2800. And again, I didn't record the 2800 because the 2800 is actually set at the tail end of the Cardassian arc. And I'm going through these missions in their story order. So I wanted to, I really felt like doing it, but I didn't feel like, I felt like sort of doing it like skipping ahead, and talking about all the things that had happened that hadn't happened yet, something like one we prepared earlier sort of stuff. But I decided it's, I can't, we got to go in the order of the story. And I was really kind of wondering where they'd slot it, and I really hoped they wouldn't slot it at the very end of most of the content in the game, and they did. So it's going to be a while before we get to it. I believe I may have said that at some point. But yeah, this is a special Rise of the Red Shirt. We're going to visit Mars. We're going to take a look around. Probably going to chug a little bit because of the volume of players going through there, but nah. And yeah, we're gonna take a look at the birthplace of the Woglinde. So let's go ahead, and maybe, just maybe, while we're at Utopia Planitia, I can say it. It's just a tongue twister. While we're at Utopia Planitia, might even get the Woglinde some TLC. Who knows? Are there any new duty officer reports? Military briefing. See, uncover intelligence leak. I can do that later. I don't want to bore you with my duty officer management. So let's go ahead. Now the problem with the Utopia Planitia, see, I said it right this time. The problem with it is I can't transwarp to it. Like, I looked up the event in the journal and you can't get there. So I'm assuming you have to transwarp to Sol first and then warp to Utopia Planitia, which is kind of weird, considering you're not actually warping it. Well, you're warping, but you're not really supposed to be doing that. Like, there was a time at which warping within a solar system was considered very risky. Like, you'll watch, like, even the Borg didn't do it. If you go back and watch Best of Both Worlds, like, even though they're chasing the Borg and they're on a time limit, the Enterprise has to slow down once it gets to the Sol system. It has to slow to impulse and just try and get there as fast as it can, because it's really, really risky to go full warp speed inside of a solar system, because there's shit in the way. There's planets, there's rocky objects flying all over the place, and while the risk of hitting them is minimal, considering the distances between these objects, it's still a huge risk. Even though it's diminished from open space, interstellar space, you can pretty much go as fast as you want. Chances are you're not fucking hitting anything unless you aimed for it. In a solar system, it's a different story. You know, it may have been a more minimal risk, but that minimal risk was still a very large one if you kind of get where I'm going with that. All right, so let's go ahead and transwarp to Sol, which is something I always dread doing. I hate Earth space dock so much. It's crowded, it's laggy, it's just... I go to Earth space dock, and I went into Earth space dock like maybe last week. Last week I did this to complete a contraband mission, and let's see, there's just so many players that it just chugs. So, Beam Starfleet Academy. Are you gonna force me to go into Earth space dock? I don't want to do that. I hate Earth space dock. I don't want to go in there. Like, there are going to be so many players in Earth space dock that it's going to be so fucking crowded that it's going to shit on my graphic settings. And that's what happened. Is not only did it crap on my graphic settings and put the really, really ugly, you know, memory was low message that you can never get rid of. Not only did it mess with my graphic settings that you can never readjust, you know, unless, you know, without restarting the client. Not only did it do that, it did it multiple times. Like, Earth space dock was so bloated and crowded and so full of lag that it actually started repeatedly screwing with my graphics to the point where I had seen better graphics on a Commodore 64. I hate Earth space dock. Absolutely despise it, so I don't want to go in here. But I'm pretty sure it's going to force me to. Let's look at the journal and see. If there's any way I can avoid going in there, I will, because god damn, this place is awful. It's just, if you've ever played EVE Online, you'll know immediately what I'm talking about, because at some point in EVE Online, you had to go through JITA. And that's what Earth space dock is. It's JITA. Everybody has to go through there at some point. 12 p.m. Oh, it starts in 44 minutes. Okay. So it starts in 44 minutes. Crap. So I have 44 minutes to kill.
Montage.
Okay, everyone, this is once again Alchemisted. I have gone ahead and knocked out my dailies for the day, and it is now 12:30. Yeah, so let's go ahead. It should be available now. Yes. First contact day. Commander Samuel Winters has information for you about this subject. Now, Samuel Winters was originally the replacement for Sulu. Sulu was promoted to the captain of the Poseidon, I want to say, a star cruiser, and Winters was his replacement. Now Sulu's back where he started in Admiral Quinn's office at Earth Space Dock, and Winters is now the first officer of the USS Enterprise. As I understand it, the crew of the Enterprise is present at the moment at Utopia Planitia while the Enterprise is having some maintenance done for the duration of this event. So if you want to chat with the crew of the new USS Enterprise, head on to Mars. Get your ass to Mars and chat with them while you can. And there's also a nice little toy you can pick up while you're there that I am going to be showing off later on. Now it's actually a very good thing that we're heading to Utopia Planitia as well, because the Woglinde seems to have a problem with her navigational thrusters. For some reason she's been turning like a Borg cube, and I don't think that's intentional. So I figure while we're at Utopia Planitia, why not have someone from the Corps of Engineers look under her hood? Hey, I saved the place from a Klingon attack and saved their prototype starship while I was at it, so I figure somebody there has to owe me a couple favors. So yeah, we'll get the Woglinde some TLC while we explore it, and we'll chat up the Enterprise crew. We'll pick up a neat little toy that I'll show off later, and we'll explore one of the areas that really has not been very thoroughly explored in Star Trek lore. Utopia Planitia, I keep struggling to get that right, was first shown in Star Trek The Next Generation, and I forget the episode in which it was first, in which we first became aware of its existence. What was the episode? It may have been the episode where the booby trap? Was that the episode where the Enterprise was stuck in an asteroid field and Geordi made this simulation of the shipyard where the Enterprise had been built to try and get an idea, to try and work out the problem, because this place was draining the ship's energy. So he made a made this simulation of the shipyards while the Enterprise was being built, so he could have the baseline specs of the Enterprise, basically. Was that the first place that was that the first time we saw Utopia Planitia? I don't know. Now, this map is only going to be available, though, for the duration of this event, at least in-game. It may come back at some point. That's been really unclear, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be in the game, because it has already been added to Foundry maps, and I can't wait to see what people do with this place, because Utopia Planitia is something that we've known about since TNG, and as I said before, it hasn't really been explored that thoroughly. We saw it in, I think, maybe once in Deep Space Nine, maybe. We saw it in Voyager. We saw like a couple big sweeping shots of the shipyards in Voyager, but I think that's about it. We haven't really explored this place in detail, so as far as I am aware, this will be the first time in any Star Trek medium that Utopia Planitia has been explored in detail. You know, in terms of what the interior looks like, you know, in terms of what the quarters look like, or whatever's there for you to explore. Is going to be the first time you've ever gotten a look inside of the main complex. So that's something I'm really excited about. So let's go ahead and get the Woglinde there so we can have a mechanic look at her. Admiral, the Federation's roots lie in peaceful contact and cooperation between various species. The first contact of humans and Vulcans opened the door to new cooperation. The Enterprise has always been at the forefront of the Federation... The Enterprise has always been at the forefront of the Federation's mission of peaceful exploration, but there would be no Enterprise if there wasn't a first contact. And there wouldn't have been a first contact if there hadn't been an Enterprise-E. That's kind of a complicated story I'll tell you about sometime. If temporal investigations will let me. I hate those people. Okay, Utopia Planitia shipyards located in the Sol system in the Vulcan sector of the Sirius sector block, and speak with the crew of the Enterprise F about First Contact Day. And your prize is the Phoenix. Now, the Phoenix, this is a non-combat pet. It's basically just like the runabout shuttle pets, the Gekly pet, you know, what have you. And it's a replica of the first warp ship from Star Trek First Contact, which is a fantastic movie that even if you're not really a fan of Star Trek, even if you're just a fan of action movies, I would wholeheartedly recommend to you. Simply because First Contact manages to be not only a good Star Trek movie, but a really good action/horror movie as well. It's definitely got sort of the zombie apocalypse sort of thing going for it a little bit with the Borg. It's a really great movie, and again, even if you're not a fan of Star Trek, I would recommend you watch that anyway, because even if Star Trek doesn't really do it for you, it's still a really good action movie. So yeah. So you get a replica of the Phoenix. Now, the Phoenix was actually a converted warhead. It was actually a nuke at some point that a man named Zephram Cochrane rebuilt into a prototype warp ship. And Zephram Cochrane has since been elevated to almost this sort of saint status, where everybody sort of remembers him as a much greater man than he himself thought himself to be, which is one of the major running themes of First Contact with the character of Zephram Cochrane. Again, a really great movie. But yeah, the Phoenix is a cool little ship. It used to be a missile. Now it's literally a spaceship, and it looks, the reveal of the Phoenix when it first deployed its warp engines, and you saw the lineage between the Phoenix and the original series Enterprise, was a really cool moment. Really great movie. Okay, I'm done gushing. I'm done. So we're going to head to Utopia Planitia. So, and yes, we can transwarp straight there. Let's see. Do you have another question? Commander Winters? It's great to see you again so soon. Thanks again for allowing me to accompany you to the Gamma Quadrant. It's something I won't soon forget. In fact, I wasn't sure we were going to get out of that place. In one piece, mind you. Yeah, hasn't happened yet, but sure. What is your station on the Enterprise? Now, I said it before he was the first officer, but I'll read this anyways. I'm the first officer, see? My time at Earth Space Dock working for Admiral Quinn gave me a lot of experience in organization and the utilization of resources. Yeah. As well as how to deal with a lot of very difficult different personalities. Utopia Planitia has screwed me up. I'm trying to get that right now and screwing up everything else. I went to Earth Space Dock with the intention of getting the experience I needed to command my own ship. But when Captain Sean contacted me with an offer to serve on the Enterprise, I knew that I had to accept. Since the Odyssey-class ships are the largest ever built by Starfleet, we'll have one of the biggest crews, too. It's going to be a tough job keeping everything running smoothly, but it's an honor serving with every single person on this ship. Tell me about yourself. I'm 4th generation Starfleet, so I feel more at home on a ship than planetside. There are a lot of expectations that come when your parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents all served, but I never wanted to be anywhere else. I applied to the Academy as soon as I met the age requirement, and after that, I've served here at Utopia Planitia and Deep Space 6 as an engineering officer. Designing starships has its appeal, but what I really wanted to do was serve on one, so I shipped out for tours of duty on the Tucker and Montgomery Scott. After switching to command, I served as an aide to Admiral Quinn at Earth Space Dock. I learned a lot from the Admiral, but the opportunity to serve on the Federation's flagship was simply too good to pass up. I know that having family in Starfleet gives me contacts that not every officer has, but I've earned every position I've ever had, including this one. What can you tell me about First Contact Day? I don't know about you, but my favorite part of First Contact Day was getting the day off school. Other than that, my family was always too busy to make a big deal out of it. Yeah, my kind of man. Let's see. What was it like when you were growing up? Pretty much the same. Day off, you know. The Phoenix was an amazing creation. Zephram Cochrane built her out of an old nuclear missile, and he and his partner, Lily Sloan, scrounged for months to find the materials they needed. This was only a few years after Earth's Third World War. Most of the planet was devastated. To build something like this literally out of the ashes, with no governmental support. Cochrane must have been a man of vision. Again, what I was talking about. They sort of elevated him to this sort of almost saint-like figure, and that's one of the character's biggest problems, was how they had done that. Alright, exit. So I'm going to make it my main mission at the moment. Okay. Initiate first contact. It's part of the Romulan front. That's... Oh, wait, no, that's initiate first contact with someone else, not celebrate first contact with us. There we go. Let's go ahead and head out. And I'm going to do it from the bridge. We're going to head out to Utopia Planitia. Can't transwarp there from here, though, which kind of sucks. It'd be really nice if you could just like hit the transwarp button and go. But I'm really excited about this. Let's go check out Utopia Planitia. Now I'm screwing that up. And it costs 0 energy credits to transwarp to Utopia Planitia. It's such a tongue twister. I'm pretty sure that's the correct pronunciation. A lot of people also pronounce it Planitia, which I might do that because it's easier to say. It is not saying Utopia Planitia. Planitia is not easy on my southern tongue. Oh, let's see. I'll usually play with the sound off. Or the music off, I mean. And there's no music here, so it doesn't matter. So we got lots of United Federation of Planets. Let's see, Advanced Starship Design Bureau. These are the guys who designed the Akira, the Sovereign, the Defiant, maybe as well. You know, the steam. You know, they designed the Steam Runner, the not the Jaeger, the Saber class. The Saber class. There was a Saber class ship called the Jaeger. I think that was the one you saw on screen in First Contact. Pretty much most of the ships that debuted in First Contact, again, Steam Runner, Norway, Akira, Saber, all of those ships were designed by the Advanced Starship Design Bureau, including the Enterprise E, which, if you read the expanded universe, was at one point called the USS Honorius, and it was actually going to be commanded by Morgan Bateson, who was this 5-second character in TNG who has since been referenced, or at least his ship has been referenced throughout all of the major films since Next Generation. Who was played by Kelsey Grammer. Actually, he's actually one of the cooler characters in the expanded universe, though, being a really old school style Starfleet captain. Because his ship is from the 23rd century, he got stuck in this temporal anomaly. He got spat out in the 24th century, so he does things, you know, the original series way, you know, cowboy diplomacy and all that. So, yeah, this is a fairly large room. What's through here? Hello. And there's Winters. So let's check this place out. Oh, very nice. Look at that. Yes, front and center. And is that actually... Hang on one bloody minute. One bloody second. That is actually... I think that might actually be the old model for the Galaxy class from, like, early on in the game. Yeah, it was! Yeah, it is! That's the old ass-ugly model of the Galaxy class. It's all busted and everything. Look. That's before they fixed the pylons. And before they fixed this... before they got the saucer sitting right on the star drive. You see how it's sort of off... position. Yeah, that's the old ass ugly version of the Galaxy class from early on when the game had launched. Wow. Memory lane. That's what the Woglinde used to look like. Wow, they really fixed that, didn't they? Whew. Oh, and that's the Cheyenne class. So yeah, birthplace of the Galaxy class, and they actually have, and there's another one. There's another bugly one. One of the things I really hated about this was, you see the phasers? They're sunking in. It just looked really weird. Hop, hop. And here we are at the Martian surface, and you can see the shipyards, and I believe that looks like an Exeter, maybe? Let me see if I can go out for a closer look. But yeah, I love the museum look of this place. Like, I love how it's like a big museum of all the ships Utopia Planitia has designed. I love that. I really wish they just left this in the game as a social zone, because that would be fantastic, having this place. And here you have all the designs for the Odyssey class, and there's Captain Sean down here. We'll chill with him in a bit. I think this environment, like the attention to detail in this environment, I have seen pictures of it. This is my first time actually in it, but just looking at it immediately, there's the Sovereign class right there, also developed here. You know, this place deserves to be a social zone. You know, this place deserves to be its own map in the game. Like, if I could, like, do all the stuff I could do at Earth Space Dock ship-wise, you know, just ship-wise, you know, not all the other stuff, I would come here. I would transwarp straight here, because I like this place a lot more. And coming from TNG, I kind of have a soft spot for it, but I think I can see there's an Intrepid, and there's an Exeter, maybe? It looks like one. It's either an Exeter or an Excalibur. It might be an Excalibur, actually. Yeah, it looks like it might be an Excalibur. I am such a geek that I can determine what those ships are from this distance. I played this game way too much. Can I jump on here? I can. Can't see crap, though. This looks really, really cool. So from the looks of it, you talk to everybody and you complete the mission, and then it is all good. So this is Lieutenant Cav. You were actually from the 2800. So it's basically all the crew of the Enterprise is basically the random characters you encountered during the 2800 featured episode series. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh, we got some Defiant schematics here. I really like the Defiant, almost as much as the Galaxy. See, what do we got? What do we got over here? We've got, let's see, it looks like a Luna, or one of the Luna subtypes. We got what looks like MVAM. That off in the distance, I don't know what the hell that is. Maybe an Excelsior. That looks like an Olympic. Then we have another MVAM escort. Oh, I really like these displays. More of these displays, please. Ooh, yeah. Very nice, like already very, very nice zone to run around in. I so hope this becomes a social zone. That'd be fantastic. Commander Sable. Who the hell are you? I probably shouldn't act like that. These are qualified Starfleet personnel. You know? These people are here for a reason, because they're the best and they're serving aboard the Enterprise, so I probably shouldn't walk up to them and go, who the hell are you? And is that the old Defiant model with the big red things on it? Yeah, it is. They're all the old models, though. I don't know why they didn't include the new models. That's probably my only beef. And you know me, I'll find something to complain about. It's always something with me, but yeah, that's probably my only beef with this place, is they're showing all the older models and not the really good ones that Captain Logan made. You know, like I'm talking about like the ones that Captain Logan and Thomas the Cat did that really fixed the Galaxy and the Sovereign, and like all the improved ship models for those is kind of what I wish they were showing, and not the really ass ugly starting ones. Well, I really like all the, let's see, there's the Galaxy class trophy right there. There's a couple Galaxy class trophies. Galaxy class is superior. And, is this the old one as well? Yeah, even the trophies are the old versions of it. You know, I suppose maybe that makes kind of sense, because these are actually just models of the ships. Like, they're literally the what the friggin' micro machines were. They're just like little models, so they're probably not going to be perfect anyways, but yeah. So let's go check out those other doors before I start talking to people, because I want to explore this place. Because aside from Foundry missions, I may not get the chance to do so again. Okay, that turbolift goes nowhere. Well, another turbolift that goes nowhere. I'm getting some weird motion blur. Are you seeing that? Maybe you're not, because it's half resolution. So up here we go with the various banners and patches for their developments. We have the Galaxy class Starship Development Project. Of course, the Galaxy class and the Enterprise D and eventually the Woglinde were a product of. Let's see, Intrepid Development, which is the Voyager, the class that Voyager belongs to. The Luna class starship, which was designed by Scott. And I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, Taranjo? I am probably not. But the Luna class design was actually a fan design that was picked from a contest to design the Starship Titan for the book series. And I don't know how canon the Luna class design actually is, but you know, in terms of like on-screen canon and stuff, because it's never been seen on screen. It's really just been seen in this game and in the books and in numerous mods for Bridge Commander. But yeah, pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome that he designed it now. It's fully recognized as being designed by Utopia Planitia, and has its own like development patch and stuff. I don't know if Taranjo actually designed that patch himself. I know he does a lot of graphics for like the Luna Bridge and such. So Prometheus development, that's what that MVAM ship was. That's sitting over there. That's the 4 nacelle ship that splits into 3 different ships. It was introduced in the Voyager episode Message in a Bottle, and it's kind of been a fan favorite ever since. Because that ship, while I don't fly as that ship, it is really frickin' cool. I have to give it that. So what else we got? Let's see. Dervish class development project. Now the Dervish is actually a this was another contest, but not to design it but to name it, that they held before the game's release. And the Dervish is actually one of the tier 5 escorts, and I don't know whether it's the fleet escort or the advanced escort. It might be the fleet escort. It might be one of the fleet escort models. So let's see. You can see. And of course the Excalibur class, which is one of the tier 2 cruisers that you can start the game with. Well, not start, but you get it fairly soon after the start of the game. And yeah, that's anything new on the back of them? No. So what we got here? Okay. Fleet modernization program. So we have a constitution, we have a... Is that a... I can't see because of the bloom! Yeah, we have a constitution, we have an Excelsior? That looks like an Excelsior. Okay, let me back off because the bloom. I can't see it through the damn bloom, but it looks like a Constitution and Excelsior. Okay, I need to get that off. There we go. Now, uncrouch. Uncrouch. Unzoom. Thank you. But it looked like a Excelsior, a Galaxy, and a Constitution, which makes sense. They are older designs. God, the Galaxy class design is close to 50 years old at this point. So let's go and start with Captain Sean. Hey, remember me? I sold you a bunch of stem bolts. You saved me when I didn't ask for help. I wonder if he's voiced. Let's see if he's voiced. No, he's not. Okay. Why is the Enterprise F here? We sustained some damage in that last fight against Karukan and his fleet. Nothing major. but enough that Starfleet thought it was a good idea we report back here before our next assignment. We pulled the Enterprise out of dry dock before work on her was completed. Wasn't the grand launch for her that Starfleet brass might have wanted, but I knew every available ship would be needed to help stop the Jem'Hadar. Excellent work out there, by the way. Without you and the USS Woglinde, we would have lost Deep Space Nine. How are things on the Enterprise? We're a new crew with a new ship. That has led to some issues, but I'm sure we will be able to overcome them and represent Starfleet in the manner that it deserves. I have an excellent senior staff. Some of them served with me on the Belfast. I'm putting my trust in them, and I'm confident that we will be ready to tackle anything. Why were you chosen to be the captain of the Enterprise? You'd have to ask Starfleet Command as to why. I've served in Starfleet for 23 years, most of that time as a tactical officer. I've taught at the Academy, served as a liaison of the Romulans after the destruction of their homeworld, and commanded the USS Belfast. I've been on 3 deep space exploration missions and participated in 14 first contact missions. That may be the resume of an Enterprise captain, but you and I both know that there are other people in Starfleet with an even more impressive list of accomplishments. As to why I was chosen? A very wise man told me recently that, in this time, the captain of the Enterprise must be a soldier as well as a diplomat and an explorer. I'm just grateful for the opportunity. What can you tell me about First Contact Day? This is a human holiday, so I may not be the best source of information. First Contact Day honors the first flight of the Phoenix, Earth's first warp vessel, and the first contact between humans and Vulcans on April 5th, 2063. Without Zephram Cochrane and the Phoenix, I don't think Starfleet would be here today. There probably wouldn't be a Federation either. Humans, and their unique approach to diplomacy, helped end centuries of conflict between my people and the Vulcans. It was their ability to bring disparate groups together for a common cause that helped found the Federation. Alright, take it easy, Sean. Enjoy your big-ass new ship. I remember you. You were on Bajor. You're also here. You're in 2 places at once. Oh my god. Welcome. I'm here to help. Okay. I'm happy for you. What do you do on the Enterprise? I'm the Chief of Operations. It's a big job on a ship like the Enterprise. Not only do I have to oversee internal systems and communications, it's my responsibility to schedule the use of all ship's resources, hardware, and systems. Negotiating sensor time for the astrometrics department might not be the most glamorous job, but I like to think that I'm assisting everyone on the ship to do their jobs more efficiently. And after all, there's nothing more important than helping someone. I'm here to help. Okay. Great. Tell me about yourself. It's funny. Most of the rest of the crew dreamed about joining Starfleet since they were kids. But when I was growing up on Beta Z, joining Starfleet, or even leaving home, wasn't something I really considered. I always thought I'd stay and raise a family. When I was 17, though, my parents and younger brother died in a shuttle crash. After that, all of my silly plans just seemed so trivial. Life is short. You have to make the most of what time you have. I wanted to help people, so I applied to Starfleet. Those first 6 weeks in the Academy were the hardest thing I've ever done. I thought about going home a lot. Even packed my bags more than once. But after I got the hang of the routine and made a few friends, things changed. I knew this was where I was supposed to be. I went into operations because it was the fastest way to get a starship assignment. My first tour of duty was on the Obsidian, and I was waiting at Deep Space Nine for the Tempest to pick me up when the Jem'Hadar attacked. When we were evacuated to Bajor, I volunteered to help at the base. I remember you being there. Thanks for all of your help. That's where I met Captain Sean, after he was given command of the Enterprise. He convinced me to join his crew. Not that it took much convincing. Think about it. It's the Enterprise. It's amazing. I'm here to help. Ugh. What can you tell me about First Contact Day? Did you know that the Enterprise E was there too? I might know a bit more about that than I'm probably supposed to. During the Battle of Sector 1, a Borg ship opened a temporal vortex and launched a probe into the past. The Borg went back in time to 2063 and tried to stop the Phoenix's first flight. Because if that flight didn't happen on April 5th, the Vulcan vessel wouldn't see it, and the first contact between humans and Vulcans wouldn't happen. Luckily, the Enterprise was there. Of course, if the Enterprise hadn't stopped the Borg, there would not have been a first contact, and that means there probably wouldn't be a Federation, which means there wouldn't have been an Enterprise to stop the Borg. Don't ask me. Temporal mechanics was my worst subject at the Academy. Chief of Operations on the Enterprise. Don't worry, you'll get used to dealing with temporal mechanics. Yeah, I really hope you enjoy temporal anomalies because you're serving on the frickin' Enterprise now. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and talk to Saval. I'm hearing a door open. There's a door opening somewhere. Jump. Okay. Oh, that's what it is. Okay. I kind of can't see it. How the hell is it opening when there's no hydraulics? How is it opening when there's no mechanism to open it? Oh, okay. I can see it now. Had to look closer. Hello, Commander. Peace and long life, Admiral. Do you have another question? I haven't asked you one yet. What's your role on the Enterprise? I am the Chief Medical Officer. Tending to the medical needs of a crew the size and diversity of the Enterprises is not unlike running a small hospital. In addition, my staff and I need to be prepared to deal with any medical issue that may arise during our missions. I also will work with our ship's counselors in those instances in which mental health affects physical health. Considering the current status of the Federation, I am most grateful for the assistance of Counselor Matthias and her staff. My first challenge, convincing Captain Sean to report for his compulsory physical. I have found that he is not the only commanding officer who is resistant to taking time for his own health. It is a trait common to captains. Tell me about yourself. When I was at the Academy, one of my medical instructors asked me why I chose to pursue medicine rather than a career as a science officer. I explained to him that not only is serving others the greatest achievement that any being can aspire to, compassion for others is inherently logical. After all, Sirach teaches us that Vulcans need to master their emotions, not purge them. Hatred, which is the most damaging emotion of all, can only be mastered with compassion. During my Starfleet career, I have served on 8 starships, 6 of those as Chief Medical Officer. On every ship there has been at least one patient who has found my bedside manner lacking, and attributed that to my being a Vulcan. They are in error. The Chief Medical Officer of a starship has no time for coddling or bedside banter. Can you say it? The first phrase that the Vulcans used when they met Zefram Cochrane? Oh, this is such a jerk thing to say. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy who's like, can I get to live long and prosper, please? Can I get to live long and prosper? Hey, Mr. Vulcan, can I get to live long and prosper? Just like they said it to Zefram Cochrane a long time ago. I don't want to be that guy. But I'm going to anyways because the dialogue option's there. I'm sorry. Why are humans so fascinated with a simple greeting? Very well. Live long and prosper. Now go the hell away. I'm sorry. What can you tell me about First Contact Day? My people were on a survey mission in the Sol system when they detected the warp signature of the Phoenix. For many years, we had a policy of not interfering with species who were not prepared for contact with other species. In fact, our methods later influenced what would become Starfleet's Prime Directive. Don't ask me about the Prime Directive. I will rant forever on how stupid the Prime Directive is. It will be a long, angry, bile-filled rant. When the crew of the Tiplanahath picked up the flight of the Phoenix, however, they sent a shuttle to the origin point of the flight to investigate. It was in a place known as Bozeman, Montana, where they met with Zephram Cochrane. And a nice little tie into what I was talking about earlier. The ship that Morgan Bateson commanded was called the Bozeman. The ship commanded by the character played by Kelsey Grammer that I was mentioning earlier. That ship was called the Bozeman, and it was referenced in, I think, almost everyone. I don't know if it was referenced in Insurrection. But then again, Insurrection. But it was referenced, name-dropped at least, in each of the TNG films. Now, Incy. Now, Commander Incy, I may be one of the counselors. She may have been the subject of a sort of little bit of I'm trying to find the right word. A little bit of world building. There was this blog post that was set during the events of the 2800, where Franklin Drake, you remember him, was trying to break into the records of Facility 4028 and was of this big holding facility, this top secret holding facility, this place that's so secret, this holding facility that's so secret for guys that are so bad it's not supposed to exist, basically. You know, it doesn't even exist. It's not on the map at all. And he was trying to break in. He was trying to bully this head counselor for information on the patient. This head counselor, who was a very professional officer, was telling him in no uncertain terms that he has no authority, he has no identification, he has no authorization to know these things, and no authorization to even be accessing the communications of the facility she's working at. So, but to be rest assured that once they find him and drag him to a jail cell there, she will give him the same level of care she's giving everybody else. So let's see. Greetings, Admiral. How may I assist you? What's your role on the Enterprise? I am the Chief Science Officer. Captain Sean was my commanding officer on the Belfast. Okay, so it's not who I was thinking about then. The loss of that vessel was regrettable, but necessary. I'm glad that at least we did all we could to help you get the changeling. I'm glad we at least did all we could to help you get the changeling back to Deep Space Nine. Without your assistance, I don't think we would have been able to retake the station. After that, my homeworld would have been the next target. Thank you. Tell me about yourself. I was born in the internment camp on the Perican Peninsula, but I remember nothing of the occupation. After the Cardassians left Bajor, my father took a position on the provisional government with the Ministry of Agriculture. I grew up in the capital, and luckily my parents had the resources to indulge my interest in science. After graduation, I left Bajor. I earned a position at the Vulcan Science Academy, where I earned advanced degrees in physics and exozoology, almost a biology. After that, seeking more experience with the galaxy and a chance to explore, I moved on to Starfleet. I've always been more comfortable with facts than feelings. In this way, I am different than most Bajorans. It's not that I don't believe in the prophets, but we need to look at them rationally. They are not gods. They are an alien species worthy of our study and contact, not worship. My brother once asked me why, if I don't believe, as he does, why I continue to wear my earring. But just because I am not religious does not mean that I am not proud of my planet and my culture. What can you tell me about First Contact Day? Nothing. I'm from another planet. It is interesting. Humans revere Zephram Cochrane so much, but if you study the mission logs of the Enterprise E crew and other sources about the man, you will find he was much more complex than the history hollows portray. According to the logs, Cochrane didn't create the first warp engine to end war or usher in a new era for mankind. In fact, he was a cynic addicted to alcohol who was using his genius for financial gain. I just remembered a line from the movie. He didn't even enjoy space travel. Nevertheless, his invention did change Earth, and with it the entire galaxy. To me, this shows that even an endeavor launched for the wrong reasons can have extraordinary results. It is as Cochrane himself said, "Don't try to be a great man, just be a man, and let history make its own judgments." Again, line from the movie. The reason I kind of hiccup there is because I started remembering a line when Zephram Cochrane is explaining why he built the warp ship. And Riker is just, he's explaining it to Riker, and Riker is just kind of shaking his head and laughing and irritating Cochrane with how easygoing he is about all of this stuff. Like, aren't I supposed to be your hero? You just met me and now I'm this asshole. It's, again, really good movie. Happy First Contact Day. Do you have another question? What can you tell me about First Contact Day? Okay, this is all the stuff we've already talked about. It's people of the Federation. First Contact Day lets the people of the Federation remember their roots. That peaceful context set the stage for the Federation's future interactions with other species. Like Zephram Cochrane, we don't have to be great people in order to have a great vision. So I'm going to get the Phoenix. Yes. So now I have the Phoenix, which I am going to visit the bridge for. I'm going to visit the bridge because I'm going to leave the Woglinde in dry dock so they can take a look at it. You know, I'll take out the chambers and show you the Phoenix. Oh, look at this. Oh, yeah. Let's see. I haven't seen you in a long, long time. I'll pull you out of mothballs just for this once. So, the Precursor is a heavy cruiser, and this is the ship I was using when I was going through the Romulan arc initially. It's been a long time since I've flown this baby. Let's go ahead and beam out. Forgot I still had that ship in my shipyard. Not now. Hello, did you miss me? It's got the old style glowy Utopia, not the Utopia, United Federation. I keep saying that now. Ah, hello there, baby. Did you miss me? I really like this. I really liked this ship. I really like I had a lot of fun flying around with the ship because it looks so different from the others. It kind of has an identity of its own, you know, in terms of its appearance compared to the other cruisers. So I really liked it. I really liked messing around and finding the combination of parts that I wanted for it. If I could still fly this, like if it was still practical to fly at Vice Admiral rank, I might have flown this one, continued flying this one because I got attached to it. Because partially because the Romulan arc took forever to get through, it was so boring. So I kind of had a lot of time to get attached to it. So let's see, Phoenix. Now that I'm now that I'm floating alone out here, and there it is. There lieth the Phoenix, and you can see kind of. You got the slots, there are these slots in the side, and I can't really zoom in very well. But you can see these kind of slots in the side, and let me... There we go. So you can see where these places, those are actually where the warp engine's tucked in. The way it did is... it launched as the tip of a missile, and then the rest of the missile blows off, and the warp engines come out of these little cubbies that are tucked in the side, and they just sort of extend out on the pylons that you see them attached to. And there you had the Phoenix. And this is actually very good attention to detail on this model. Very nice looking. It has weapons. I don't know why. It has the little red dot things. Those usually mean weapons hard points. So I don't know why it has those. They actually reused this cone section of the Phoenix. If you watch Star Trek Enterprise, this is the they reused that into sort of like this space jeep kind of thing. You know, it's I think what was the name? Inspection pod, I think. And it's basically the kind of pod they would use. They would take it and they would fly around outside the ship and inspect damage and what have you, or scratch the paint as like the first really not funny kind of a joke. Well, okay, maybe it was almost funny. I'll give them that much credit. But yeah, this is basically what you got in for Star Trek First Contact. This is basically what the Phoenix looks like. So good on them. It looks, you know, from memory, because I haven't seen that movie in a while. I probably should go watch that movie again. But from memory, that looks pretty good. So thumbs up. Good job. Good job recreating the Phoenix. And I think that's going to about do it for this installation of Rise of the REDSHIRT. Happy First Contact Day, I guess. And again, these are non-combat pets. They do nothing. It's literally just there. You know, it's just there as in-game. I hate to say fluff, but I would like to say world building almost. You know, it's in there. It's purely in there. You know, as some to add a little bit more Star Trek-ness, I guess. I'm trying to think of a way to describe it, but I'm not really coming up with anything. But there you go. There's the Phoenix. That's First Contact Day. That's Utopia Planitia. It is now a Foundry map. So go nuts, because I want to explore this map again, and I would love to do so on Foundry missions. Use Utopia Planitia. Set missions around Utopia Planitia. Set missions around shipyards. And, yeah, get cracking on those Foundry missions with Utopia Planitia, because that's a really great map, and it really deserves a lot of attention. And I really hope it stays in the game, you know, in terms of a social zone, or, you know, God forbid, a new daily. You know, that would be awesome. And, yeah, that's it for this week's Rise of the REDSHIRT. Next week we will resume with, trying to remember. Oh yeah, also new Klingon mission. Yeah. Screw those Klingons. Let's see. We will be resuming with Project Nightingale. So until then, I will see you guys later. So later. Finally! The Woglinde has returned to Utopia Planitia! Yeah. I worry sometimes.